Listen, if we even think you owe us money, you won't know what hit you. We'll put liens on everything you own. Raid your bank accounts, retirement fund, pension. You'll open up your paycheck and cry because we'll already have the money. We'll haul you into federal court and you might even go to jail. Hey, it's our job.
Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. Our experts will fight for you using IRS guidelines to stop any IRS actions like bank levies or wage garnishments. Plus, eliminate penalties and interest and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
I'd have my mom call the number on the screen. You come see me alone. We'll work it out. Really, we will.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Hey, AMP News Patriots, join us in saluting the unwavering heroes who rush towards danger and are always there when you need them. Presenting the First Responder 911 Foundation Challenge Coin, masterfully crafted by our artisans to pay tribute to our heroes. Own this beautiful memento of our gratitude for your support while celebrating their courage and their dedication. For only $29, you can support those who serve and protect. Secure your challenge coin today at firstresponder911.org. Order yours now.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to be a conformist.
When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers and walk around the office on eggshells.
When I grow up, I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board, redballoon.work.
Hello, everybody. Mark Schaftlein with you, and this is the Schaftlein Report. It's Thursday's edition, and we are broadcasting from the great wine country of California and from Delray Beach, Florida. Drew Allen, happy to have you with me today. Welcome back to the show.
It's good to be back with you, Mark.
Hey, listen, Drew, you are the author of a book, America's Last Stand, and I got to tell you something. The craziness that I've seen happening all over the place reminds me of your book title, Everywhere We Go, from the insanity going on in this country. I mean, there it is, folks, America's Last Stand. Will you vote to save or destroy America in 2024? How appropriate that is. Drew, I know a lot of people have said 2024, without a doubt, is the most important election in their lifetime. You know, I believe it. And I've been through a lot of doozies before, but this really, given the situation our country's in right now, we've got a pretty severe issue. Drew, last night, give me your analysis. We had a debate. Really, it was a shouting match. And then we had Trump in very friendly territory. Christie drops out. Give me your analysis of the events from last night.
Well, I just think that, firstly, last night, if you watch Haley and DeSantis during the CNN debate, and then you watch Trump at the town hall, a lot of the concerns that have been put out about Trump were non-existent. He wasn't in mental decline. He was in top form, in my opinion. He gave answers to questions that were very smart. It shows what he's learned. It shows where he excels where the others do not. For example, they asked him about retribution. The media is looking for gotcha moments. They're looking to capitalize on some error that Trump could make, like playing into the dictator narrative and so on and so forth. So when they asked him about retribution, yes, he will get retribution, and that's retribution for America. But he didn't answer the question in a way that the left could slander it or the left could use it as ammo. He said that America's success will be retribution. So you looked at him and you looked at them, and it's just so obvious that despite him being nearly 80 and so on and so forth, he's just a special candidate right now, and he's the one that's ready to run in 2024. And I think Ron DeSantis still needs time. But the debate with Haley and DeSantis didn't really do them any favors.
I completely concur with you on that point. Point of reference, folks. I like Ron DeSantis a lot. He's my governor here in the state of Florida, and he has done an exceptional job as governor. I like Nikki Haley. She was a 2-term governor of South Carolina. I'm of the Ronald Reagan camp. Thou shalt not speak ill about a fellow Republican. I know what happens in debates and when you're, fighting for the highest office in the land. I get that. But Drew, last night, and I did watch the debate, some of it with sound on, some of it with sound off. But when I listened to it, I heard a lot of shouting. I heard a lot of talking over each other. Frankly, I heard a lot of facts or insults that both of them were throwing at each other on, frankly, a lot of matters that the average voters just don't really give a damn about. I mean, this election is going to be won on or lost on 3 factors, in my opinion. The economy, first and foremost, concern over our country being flooded with illegal immigrants, and Joe Biden's age. I mean, I really believe those are the 3 issues that most people care about. Sure, you're going to have some environmental wackos that vote simply on environmental stuff. You're going to have transgender people vote Democrat because they believe Biden's sympathetic. You're going to have some people vote just on the abortion issue. I get that. And you'll have some people who absolutely hate Trump that wouldn't, they wouldn't vote for him if it was a one-man contest. So I get all that. But despite all that, Drew, I'm seeing the media absolutely pulling for Nikki Haley. I mean, they cannot get it out of their mouth quick enough how Nikki Haley's a rising star and, a 2-term governor of Florida who's super successful. Maybe it's his first time around. I get it. But my goodness, Nikki Haley, she's getting really anointed as the savior of the Republican Party.
Well, the New York Times, I believe, has endorsed Nikki Haley. And you have to understand that Nikki Haley represents for the left the kind of archetypal Republican candidate of old before the Trump era that they loved because they could count on that individual to lose with their dignity, right? The McCain type, the Romney type that wasn't really in it to go all the way and win. They knew they could defeat them, and they knew that they could manipulate them and beat them in the media because the media's hatred of that individual used to influence their decisions on the campaign trail. Trump is not influenced or manipulated by the media and their hatred of him. He's used to it, and he fights back. So that's what you're seeing. They want us to go with a candidate that they know they can beat, and they are not confident. And in fact, they fear Trump. They do not actually believe they can beat him. They want us to be skeptical. They want us to question Trump's ability to win in 2024 because they are our enemy in the race. So, of course, they want to do that. But I think that what the American people are starting to wake up to is what I've been pointing out for quite a while now. I mean, my book is about a Trump versus Biden or some other Democrat rematch. I mean, I predicted that a long time ago. But they're coming around to the fact that these debates that are continuing to go on, being sponsored by CNN, of course, they're a sideshow, a distraction from what is necessary now to win in 2024. Which is for us to unite around a candidate finally and get on the same page, because the Democrats do not have a platform to run on. They can't run on their Marxism and socialism. They can only run on attacking Trump and inventing these threats, fear tactics. And in light of that, what we have to do to make sure that we win is remind the American people what the Democrats have done, how much better life was under Trump, and to tell them what solutions we are going to present them with and follow through with in order to make sure that their lives improve. So this needs to go away, and we need to start doing that sooner rather than later, in my opinion.
Well, I think it will go away sooner rather than later. I mean, last night, Christie dropped out. And, one thing that sort of shocks me about Christie dropping out the way he did, again, he was applauded all over the media for his graceful exit and his speech that he gave. But, when you're in politics and you've been doing it as long as Christie has been doing it, don't you recognize that there's a live microphone everywhere when you're in a room? I mean, for him to be caught on a live mic talking about how Nikki Haley's going to be toast and Ron DeSantis is in fearful or whatever the hell he said. I mean, come on, Chris. If you're going to exit, don't have a hot mic and have the media talk about that. And I don't believe it was deliberate for a second. I think he just slipped up and said some stuff he shouldn't have. But again, why did Christie pick last night, Drew? Was because he realized he's going nowhere? And is he that anti-Trump, or was it just a mere, hell, I'm not going anywhere, now's as good a time as any?
That's a good question. I have to think I think maybe it was to take some attention away from the other people still in the race. I mean, it was a way to try and, take his large frame and present it once again as a news story in front of the American people on the same day that these debates are going to happen. Kind of like it's a little bit of a selfish, egocentric moment, perhaps, but it was going to happen sooner or later. I mean, it should have happened a long time ago, but he stayed in there. The same is true now for Haley and DeSantis. They're inevitably going to have to bow out eventually, sooner rather than later, too. So, it was a joke anyway that Chris Christie was ever in this race. It was anti-Trumpers that were backing and funding his ability to get in the arena, frankly, and try and beat up Trump as much as he could. And of course, the media loves Chris Christie because he does their bidding for them. He attacks them. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to, the news story I'm looking forward to is when MSNBC hires him.
Well, he was on ABC prior to that. Hey, listen, we got some fresh polling out of Iowa. And if this polling is correct, and I put a big if there, because trying to poll Iowa with their crazy caucus system, and that's no insult there, all our Iowa viewers there, it's just an oddball way to do things. It shows Trump 54, Nikki Haley 20, DeSantis 14. I got news for you, Drew. If Ron DeSantis doesn't come in second place, and I'm not the political consultant advising him, but he's got to come in second place, or I don't see a path going forward for him. He's a young guy. We've had a lot of presidents that lost the first time, came back and won the second time. I could name half a dozen of them, but I won't for the sake of the show. But, he needs to come in at least second place in this Iowa caucus. And what do you make of the reports about all the independents and some of the soft Democrats voting for Nikki Haley in New Hampshire? I mean, Drew, let's play the what if game here. I mean, I fully believe Trump's going to have a blowout win in Iowa. I just sense it. I don't give a damn what the polls show. I see his supporters. I've been traveling all around the country. New Hampshire, I haven't been to New Hampshire, but I had Joe Visconti and he was talking about it. He sort of affirmed there's a lot of independents going for Haley. Could she possibly pull an upset in New Hampshire? I mean, you listen to the media, it's all but done that she's going to win New Hampshire.
I don't think so. I think she'll come in second in New Hampshire. I don't think there's any replacement for Trump support right now. And contrary to the narrative told by some people in the media, and certainly the Haley campaigns and DeSantis campaigns that need this narrative out there that they can actually succeed and pull an upset off, that's not happening as Trump's support is expanding. I do predict here right now that Trump's going to mop the floor with them in Iowa. I want to say something, though, first, because Iowa's significance has been greatly exaggerated because it's a lifeline for the DeSantis and Haley campaigns. Trump won the Iowa caucus. I mean, it was all but guaranteed anyway in 2020. But, the last time Iowa chose the nominee, I mean, you had George Bush in 2000, and he, of course, went on to win the general election. But, they chose Ted Cruz in 2016. They chose Rick Santorum, I think it was, in 2012. So they don't have a great track record of picking who the eventual nominee's going to be anyway. And of course, 2024 is not 2016, 2020, 2012, 2000. It's none of those things. It's a very different beast. Right now, everyone's kind of had made up their mind already who the nominee was going to be. It was going to be Trump. So you don't have 16 people and 16 debates where these things keep changing. Trump has not just maintained, but expanded his lead. So look, DeSantis put all his eggs in Iowa, and it's desperate. If he doesn't win, he can't even continue the charade that he has a chance. And of course, we still have another CNN debate in New Hampshire, which guaranteed that they would stay in for another week. But in my opinion, if these people want to demonstrate that they love the country and that they're selfless individuals, if Trump blows them out in Iowa, they should bow out before New Hampshire.
Well, you know what? I don't think that's going to happen for Nikki Haley, but it could happen for Ron DeSantis. Anyhow, we're going to take a 1-minute break. We got a special message from a couple of our supporters. We'll be back in 60 seconds. We're going to talk about Trump and some things that happen in the economy.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to be a conformist.
When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers and walk around the office on eggshells.
When I grow up, I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board, redballoon.work.
AMP News is now Patriot.tv.
We are here to defend democracy for the people.
All right, Drew. So we're back, and in the most bizarre campaign I think you may ever see, Donald Trump does a town hall in Iowa last night, comes off smelling like a rose. Heck, DeSantis and Haley didn't even hit him at all in their debate. And then he has to hop on a plane, fly to New York. He's in a courtroom this morning on, to me, among the most bogus civil charges I have ever come across in my life. As a former banker, when someone tells you a building's worth X, you have it appraised and you make your evaluation, regardless of what the client says he thinks it's worth. Anyhow, he's having to deal with that kind of crap right now, but he did throw one little nugget out last night saying he's already made his decision on his vice president. Drew, who's the VP pick that Trump's talking about?
That's what everybody wants to know. You know, he may very well have chosen his VP. He may very well have no clue right now, but that's typical Trump to just play the media like that. I mean, it's such a Trump thing to do, and there's nothing negative to say about that. I mean, part of me just loves it. That is Trump. That's one of those more, I think, endearing things about him, actually, is he just... I mean, the guy, you can say he's a loose cannon or he should shut up sometimes or whatever else, but at the same time, he has perfect actual control over what he says, because most of what he says is intended to drive the media mad. And of course, he makes that statement. I mean, they wanted to know anyway, but, you know, on the night that DeSantis and Haley are taking the debate stage to, you know, continue this facade, this theater of them trying to oust him and get the nomination instead. But I don't think it's going to be either one of them that was on that stage.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. One thing about Trump, you know where he stands. And I just wish the senators and congressmen in the Republican Party would take the same stance Trump is. My God, Drew, we got a bill going through, and typical, the media just slamming the conservative caucus, the likes of Chip Roy, et cetera, for saying this is hogwash, this is terrible. Frankly, look, I supported Mike Johnson coming in. I still do. But for the life of me, stand up and get a pair of balls and fight this thing. I mean, this is nuts what they're talking about passing. And for the life of me, stand up and quit worrying about getting blamed for a damn shutdown. I mean, they play this damn card every single time, and you would think they would learn from now. Look, this country cannot keep spinning in like insanity. And if Drew, for once, I just wish they'd stand up and have a backbone. I know I'm editorializing here, but damn it, in this case, I think the conservative wing is right. Take a stand and don't let the Democrats steamroll it. I don't give a damn if Schumer controls the Senate, Biden's in the presidency. You got to have the Republicans to tango with, and I don't know, I'm a little disappointed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're right. We don't have an opposition party in America. The Republican Party is not really an opposition party. They're not opposed to anything. They verbally say they're disenchanted with something, or they say they don't like it, and then they give the Democrats what they want. They've been playing this game for like 30 years. This is driving conservatives mad. At this point, it's pragmatic as well. This is intolerable. The country can't handle this anymore. Our economy cannot handle this anymore. We are at the breaking point, and these are the stakes. And now it's time to actually abandon that failed playbook. And let me say this. The Republicans in the House are, at worst, corrupt individuals who know exactly what they're doing. They're just taking advantage of conservatives, stringing us along, and all the while playing a game in conjunction with the Democrats. Best case scenario, these losers and cowards continue to conduct themselves out of fear. They live in perpetual fear of what the media is going to say about them, even though they have no control over that, and they know exactly what the media is going to say. And this is why Trump, again, is a juggernaut in Republican politics, because he did not play that game. When they came out with the Access Hollywood tape, he didn't sit there and cower. He just dismissed it and said, yeah, so what? It's locker room talk. And he moved on. That's what we have to do to win. But unfortunately, Mike Johnson doesn't seem to be prepared to engage in behavior that is different from what has failed us before. And it's very unfortunate, because the American people need champions right now. We need elected representatives who are as concerned about the country as we are. And these people just seem to go along, get their taxpayer-funded salaries in Washington, D.C., as if it's 1980 or 1990 or 2000. The debt is over $34 trillion. This is not sustainable. The U.S. government is the second largest employer in America. 3 people have to work to pay for the job of one government employee. This is not sustainable.
No, it's not. And the other thing that's not sustainable is the inflation that again, we got a report today, CPI in December, that's a consumer price index, up 3.4%. That's going the wrong way, folks. It was 3.1 in November. Everybody on Wall Street was hailing it, thinking we're going to have rate cuts. You and I discussed it. I said there aren't going to be any rate cuts the first 6 months of the year. And now we come in with a hot number at 3.4. Drew, since Biden took office, inflation up over 17.5%. Food cost up 33%. Housing costs up 19%, energy 33%, electricity, stuff that people use every day. They eat, sleep, they turn on the power. They're getting crushed by this stuff. And with this spending behemoth that they're contemplating doing, it just never ends. That 34 trillion, I know we've been warning about it, but no one knows. Not even the smartest economists in the world can tell you the tipping point. But I've said it on the show many times. Stock market takes the escalator up and the elevator down. And I got to tell you something. I'm seeing a lot of warning signs out there. And then to add insult to injury, they released $10 billion to Iran. You know, you got the Iranian-backed Houthis sitting there attacking ships in the Red Sea. You got our service members under attack. And what do? You know, we send our military to blow up a warehouse in Iraq every now and then. I mean, when I literally look and say the world's upside down, I'm saying we're giving Iran money. They're attacking us. Biden's over there trying to convince the Israelis, Biden and Blinken, not to continue to pursuing a successful attack on Hamas. And then we have all this nut stuff happening here in this country with 10,000 people a day crossing the border. I'm saying this place is out of control. And we got an 81-year-old. Thank God that Trump's leading him. But as we always like to say, these numbers can change, folks. So, Drew, I threw a lot of facts out there. Help me out with them because, you experience it, I experience it. We talk to a lot of Americans. People are sick and tired of this stuff.
Yeah. We have a government that is the enemy of the American people. We have a government and people that are making decisions that are helping our enemies and hurting us. It's hard to comprehend what's happening to this nation right now because it's all intentional. And you have people sabotaging us at every turn. To give $10 billion and release it to the Iranians after what they did, funding Hamas, funding terrorists around the world, supporting terrorist attacks against Israel. You have Secretary of State Blinken, who is siding with Hamas, essentially, and he's telling the Israelis that they need to reward Hamas with a Palestinian state as a response to Hamas slaughtering innocent Israelis at a music festival. I mean, this is a administration incapable of making a single decision that is correct. Every decision they have made, not a single one, has benefited America or made sense in terms of protecting our own sovereignty or facilitating any kind of improvement or equilibrium in America. It's all, we're on a seesaw and they continue to keep tilting us this way, which is to lead to our demise. The border situation, what's happening there is treason. We have got to get these people out of office, and we have got to remember what they've done because it's not going to be fixed with one election. We have got to get back into the mentality that the founding fathers intended for us, in which we, the people, had the power, and the government was very limited. They're not limited. They're out of control, and they're unaccountable.
Yeah, you're spot on in your analysis there, Drew. And I got to tell you something, folks. That was the one issue that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley agreed on last night, is that the people who are in this country illegally, they need to be deported. Listen, Drew, we got about a minute left. And we normally don't talk about college and pro football coaches, but yesterday was a really unique day for three legends in the game over the age of 70. I mean, first thing out, Nick Sabin of Alabama, 7 national titles, 6 at Alabama, 1 at LSU, announces his retirement. Shortly thereafter, Pete Carroll, a Super Bowl winning coach in Seattle, announced that he's not going to be coaching next year. And then earlier this morning, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft agreed that Belichick, after 24 years, will not be coaching New England. Drew, quick, 30 seconds on this. I mean, quite a day for, 70-year-old plus coaches, who all 3 of which will be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know how to look at it except through a political lens because of all the things we've been talking about, but it seems apropos. It's kind of the end of an era, and who's going to replace them? These are giants. Are we going to find people that can, uplift these people, replace them in some capacity, and have new people aspiring to greatness, or is it the end? But it's certainly the end of an era, and I think we're looking at that this year in America. What's going to happen to our future as well? We've got to have new leaders step up, and we have to have fresh blood that's really concerned with fixing the country. So, I mean, to me, that's what it is. Like, end of an era. All right.
End of an era for sure. Hey, listen, folks, that is a great read, America's Last Stand. Drew, thank you for joining me as always. Always insightful having you on the show. Folks, we'll be back on Tuesday. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for listening. See you on Tuesday.
The world is about to shift. Banks are going cashless globally with the emergence of central bank digital currency, which will bring with it programmable money and the ability to turn on or off your purchasing power based on your digital social profile. It's like the equivalent of spyware in your bank account. You need to get out of the system with the world's safest and most private assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott, PhD, 720-605-3900.